Shalom, and welcome to Parsha Highlights and Insights. This is Rabbi Fischer. This week's Parsha is Bo, Boel Paro, come to Paro. The Parsha, I would say, can be divided into two big sections. The first section deals with the last three makot, the last three plagues before the Exodus, before Yetziat Mitzrayim. First is the plague of locusts. First, Moshe comes before Paro. Moshe and Aaron come before Paro, and they warn about the upcoming plague of locusts. Remember the pattern. There are always two plagues that have a warning before, followed by one without warning. So this is with warning. And at the end of the warning, Moshe and Aaron leave. And then we have a kind of behind the scenes glimpse into Paro and his advisors, where the advisors say, "Don't you realize that Egypt is lost? Let them go." And so Paro uh, allows them to come back, but when Moshe says that all of us are going to go, not just the men, everyone is going to go, men, women, and children, even our animals. Paro is upset and he expels them once again. And what follows is the actual plague of locusts, which are brought in by Hashem, by a wind from the east, from the sea. The entire land of Egypt is covered in locusts. The locusts eat everything that grows. And Paro calls back from Moshe, please remove the plague of locusts and pray for me. And of course, Hashem removes the locusts. But once again, Paro's heart is hardened. This time it says that Hashem hardened his heart, as Hashem promised. What comes next is the plague of darkness. The plague of darkness does not have a warning. Hashem tells Moshe to extend his hand towards the sky, and what follows are 3 days of complete darkness in Egypt, followed by 3 days in which the Egyptians are completely immobile. But wherever the Jews are, wherever the Israelites are, there is light. When this is over, Paro once again calls for Moshe and says, "You may go, but you must leave your animals behind." And Moshe insists that when the time comes for them to go, they will take all of their animals. Not only that, but the Egyptians will even give them animals for sacrificing. Paro is very angry, and he says, "Don't come back." And Moshe insists, "You're right. I will not see you again." What follows then is the warning of the 10th plague, the killing of the firstborn. Hashem tells Moshe to tell the people that when the time comes, they should ask the Egyptians for gold and silver. We might call this reparations for their years of slavery. And Moshe is to give a final warning that at midnight, the firstborn of every household in Egypt will die. But as Hashem reminds, Paro will not let you go, and I will this way increase all of my signs upon Egypt in order to show who Hashem is, what Hashem is capable of. The second part of the parasha has to do with the preparation for the actual Yetziat Mitzrayim, the Exodus, and its aftermath. Now, before the Exodus, we have the first large cluster of mitzvot that we've ever had in the Torah, starting with the commandment to set up a calendrical system, that the new moon is the beginning of every month, and that this month, the month in which the Exodus will take place, will be the first of the month. And then, continuing in the mitzvot, select a 1-year-old male lamb or goat per group. One family, several families can join together. And starting on the 10th, uh, watch this animal. It's explained to us that this is to make sure that there are no blemishes in the animal. And then on the 14th, in the afternoon, the animal is to be slaughtered. The blood is collected and placed on the two doorposts and the lintel, and this will be a sign uh, which households, not only which households are there Israelites, but more to the point, in which household are there Israelites who are obeying Hashem's will. Uh, then this this 1 year old male lamb or goat is to be roasted in its entirety and then eaten that night, uh, accompanied with matzot and with maror. Do not leave over anything until the morning. Anything that is left over will have to be burned. And when they are to eat it, they are to eat it in a way that they show that they're ready to travel. They're dressed, they have their staff in their hand, their shoes on their feet, ready to travel, because at any moment Hashem will give them the signal that they are to leave Egypt. In the meanwhile, that very same night, Hashem says he will slay the firstborn of Egypt and pass over the house of the Israelites that have placed the blood on the two doorposts and the lintel. Now, many of these elements are going to be repeated when the Passover sacrifice, when the Korban Pesach will be brought in the future or after the Exodus, but some of them are unique to what we call Pesach Mitzrayim, the Pesach as it was observed in Egypt. So many of these things have to be spelled out. What the Torah continues with is talking about not only Pesach, but also the holiday that follows Pesach, the 7-day festival called Chag Hamatzot, but that will be for future generations. They're told, first of all, that in the future they will keep the Pesach, meaning the Passover sacrifice, and then following will be Chag HaMatzot, festival of eating matzah, which will last for 7 days. If you want to think of it, Pesach starts on the 14th in the afternoon when the animal is slaughtered, roasted, and prepared, and continues to the following night, which is the night that begins the 15th of the month, and the 7-day festival, Chag HaMatzot, starts that night and lasts for 7 days. Again, wasn't observed in Egypt. Pesach, Chag HaMatzot rather, was not observed in Pesach, but it would be in the future. And the night when the Passover sacrifice is eaten with matzot, there's a kind of an overlap between these two. The instructions are, the mitzvot are, is that when there is Chag HaMatzot, they're not to keep, that is to say, own or eat any chametz, anything that is made of grain and has been leavened. And when the 7 days are observed, so the first day and the seventh day are to be observed as festivals. And what that means is that work is not permitted, with the exception of work that is necessary for the preparation of food that's permitted. Moshe teaches Israel about the commandments of Pesach, both those observances that will be particular to Pesach in Egypt and those that are going to be in future generations, and they're not all the same. For example, eating in haste with the shoes on and so on, that's only in Mitzrayim, that's only in Egypt. Moshe also says that the time will come when you will be asked by your children why you're doing this. And so Moshe says you must tell your children, you must teach them. And so the children of Israel do bring the Passover sacrifice, the Korban Pesach, in Egypt. And at that same time, during that same night, is when all of the firstborn in Egypt are killed. And there is not one household that does not have a firstborn that has died. And it's at this point that we begin the actual Exodus. Of course, Paro and the Egyptian people are panicking. They seek to release Bnei Israel without exception. Men, women, children, and all of the animals without exception just leave. The Israelites hurry and they take the dough that they have, and it is unleavened, uh, in other words, matzah. And as commanded, the Israelites ask the Egyptians for gold, silver, and garments as what we called reparations. And they begin the first stage of their journey from a place in Egypt called Ramses to a place called Sukkot. And we're told that there is an assembly of many, many people, 600,000 men that can stand as an army. Of course, add to that women and children, and you have a very large group. And also, we're told that a mixed multitude, meaning other nations, kind of hop on the bandwagon to leave at the same time. And the Torah says that Bnei Israel have been in Egypt for 430 years. How that is calculated is another topic for discussion, but it's not the amount of time that they were actually in Egypt, but 430 years. And then what follows are some more Pesach commandments looking towards the future. For one thing, only Israelites are to observe the Passover sacrifice, and the Israelite has to be circumcised. If somebody's uncircumcised, then they have to see to it they are. Um, they also have to eat it in one place, or as the Torah calls it, one in one house. And while eating it, they're not to break the bones. This is something that is to be done um, with a certain amount of expediency. Don't break the bones and eat the contents of the bones. And then the very, very final part of the parasha, which, as I said, is part of the aftermath of the actual um, Exodus, um, are some other commandments to commemorate the Exodus. Of course, uh, the observance of the Passover holiday is one of them, but there are others that are to be observed. First of all, the firstborn males of man and animals are sanctified to Hashem, and that's in commemoration of the not only the slaying of the firstborn, but also the sparing of the firstborn of Israel. Once again, we're told to remember this event when you come into the land of Israel. In other words, when the time comes for you eventually to enter the land of Israel, you must continue this. Observe the Passover sacrifice and observe the 7-day festival, Chag HaMatzot. Teach your children. This is an idea that is repeated several times. Other mitzvot that are directly related um, to the Yetziat Mitzrayim is tefillin, to put tefillin on the hand and on the head. And main reason for this is, or the connection to Yetziat Mitzrayim, is God took us out of Egypt with a mighty arm. So by putting tefillin on our arm, we are reminded of Hashem's mighty arm, as it were. Also connected to the firstborn is that not only are the firstborn of people and animals sanctified to Hashem, but the firstborn of donkeys. These are unkosher animals, but the firstborn of donkeys are also to be redeemed, and if not redeemed with exchange with a sheep, they're actually decapitated, and it's very possible that the donkeys singled out because they helped Bnei Israel in the actual Exodus. And finally, one more time, when your children ask about the firstborn as well, so tell them why you are doing what you are doing in order to commemorate the Exodus. Back in the beginning of the parasha, when Paro agrees to bring Moshe and Aharon back to present their case one more time, because Paro's advisors said we're lost anyway. So Paro proposes, very well, go worship God. who is going? And Moshe says, we're all going, young and old, men and women, with all of our animals, um, because, as he says, we are observing a Chag Hashem Lanu, a festival of Hashem we have. Chag is a festival. Of course, Paro doesn't accept this, and he says, may God be with you in the way that I will let you go. In other words, you should live so long that I'm going to let you go. Uh, this is you're just negotiating, but the men alone should go because that's all that you really, really want. And he doesn't seem to wait for an answer. He just they are expelled from before Paro's presence. But a little bit more about this idea that Moshe says that we're all going to go because we have a Chag, because we have a festival. So Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch points out that the word Chag really means a circle. And in the same way as a circle must be complete, any piece that is missing uh, means that it's not a circle. So that's the same way that we Jewish people, without exception, are joined together in the service of Hashem. I'll read to you from the translation of Rav Shimshon Raphael Hirsch's words. He wrote in German, but this is a translation into English. He says, we have no intermediary, no priests, no representative before our God. If we are to go, we must all go. The tiniest baby in the cradle, the last sheep of our possessions. Each and all are integral parts of our community. None and nothing may remain, for we are all to form a circle about God. God calls us together around him, and when God calls us, he wants to see us with every member of our family and with all our possessions about him. So according to Rav Hirsch, Moshe is emphasizing something that's very true, that when it comes to joining together as a community to serve Hashem, everybody's contribution is absolutely necessary. And that way we form a chag, not only a festival, but also a circle around God. I thank you very much for joining me in this discussion of Parashat Bo. This has been Rabbi Abraham Fischer for Parasha Highlights and Insights, saying Shalom.